Hello and welcome back to Train Sim World 2 and the London Underground Bakerloo Line for my first impressions / review. If you have not seen the first two parts of this first impression / review, I highly recommend you do go ahead and have a look at that, because I talk a little bit about the graphics, the sounds, the physics, the HUD, what I like to see, what I feel is right, what I feel is wrong. I am going to be talking a little bit more about that in this one, but in this video I want to give it a chance for the gameplay in and of itself. So I'm going to be doing Chapter 1, Around Hall. That is the one I'm going to be doing today. So I believe I have done this already. So I believe this is going to be a run from Queen's Park all the way out and then back from Harrow all the way back in to Queen's Park. So this is going to be a two-parter. We're going to do the outbound, or the northbound, and then we're going to come back and do the southbound. And as you've seen on the, perhaps in the description, or most likely in the title, since the Annunciator does not seem to work in this game, and that is very disappointing, you are going to be treated to me doing the Annunciators. So sit back, relax, and mind the gap, please. Welcome to Queen's Park Station. This is a northbound service. This service travels to Harrow and Wheelstone, or Williston, and then terminates at Queen's Park. So that is what we need to do. Let's go ahead and set this up already. Not in service. That is going to change. I think it's using F8. I can change that, and that is going to change to Harrow and Wheelstone. Unlock the doors. We're going to start with that. And I am going to do this. We are at Queen's Park, so I am going to do what I need to do once we've loaded the passengers. So we do not have to do it at this first station, because obviously we're here, so the Annunciator is not going to happen. Wait until 10 o'clock. In the meantime, if I'm waiting until 10 o'clock, I am going to get this ready to go. Lock doors. And here we go. Let's go. Kensal Green is next. This is going to be interesting to do this, talk to you guys, do my first impressions. Oh, it's raining. Use the wipers. That's using the V key, or I can just do that. I do have some wheel slip, so do have to be careful about that. And this is 10 miles per hour through this, out of Queen's Park. There is a dead zone just here as well. Just at the end there is a dead zone. I think Shift and W will switch off the wipers. Now the question is, am I going to be able to do this in time? That is the big question. Now timetables in London on the tube are very, very tight. Yeah, very tight ones. Right. There's a dead zone somewhere here. I know that. I think. Yes, between this there's a tiny little dead zone, and then we should pick it up again. There it is. Now we've picked it up again. Should be going into a 15 in a few seconds. Now what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do the next stop one. I'm just going to do the one in the station. That is the only one I'm going to do. And I have gone ahead and learnt all of them for the entire Bakerloo Line. Right, we are now going to accelerate up to 30 miles per hour. Back on that. Do not mind the little dot in the middle, that's actually my cursor. I've forgotten how to get rid of it. It's a Shift and 8. Nope. Get back inside. Oh, actually I could do that. And hey look. That isn't too bad looking, is it? Graphically, this looks amazing. Graphically, this does look amazing. There are a few stutters. Wait a minute. Where's the rain gone? Okay, there's no more rain on the windscreen. Not a clue. Not a clue whatsoever. Perhaps that's a bug. There we go. I found a bug. Developers, please take a look at that and see what you can do about it. It is wet, so I'm wondering if the slowdown is going to be... No, we're seeming to be okay on the slowdown. I am just about on time. Within a few seconds. That is pretty good going, actually. Just about. This is Kensal Green. I've forgotten the rest of it. What is it? Come on, brain. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Please stand clear of the doors. That was a really bad one. I'll get used to it. Next stop, Williston Junction. Let me practice Williston's one. What's Williston? Where does it go? It's the same thing, apart from there's the Overground in Williston, I think. So it's going to be please mind the gap between the train and the so these ones all have please mind the gap between the train and the platform. The ones underground do not have that. So we'll have please mind the gap here. This is a London Overground train. Overground? No, this is not. This is a Bakerloo Line train. Change here for London Overground services. That is it. Or change here for the London Overground. So we'll just continue accelerating our way up. That is the West Coast Main Line right there. Uh-oh. That is not what I meant to do. Sit down in the driver's seat. I accidentally pressed E instead of D. Is it D? That was... Not D. Yeah, it was D. Instead of pressing D, I pressed E. Whoops. Well, that's completely slowed me down and ruined everything. Well done. Although the rain's back. Interesting. When did that come back? So that down on the other side was the West Coast Main Line. And here we've got the London Overground coming in as well from the... You can see from the right hand side, I believe that is the London Overground. Or is the London Overground overhead? No, the London Overground is the one overhead. Yep, so you can see that one from... It did come in from the right, but going overhead, that is the London Overground. Just need to make sure that the brakes are going to be okay in this. Ah, there we go, I'm already late. Already late. Come on, brake, slow down train. That's it. About there is right. This is Williston Junction. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Change here for London Overground services. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Did they say please stand clear of the doors here? I do not think so. Well, I suppose they would if it was busy. I do not know whether it's busy though, so I'm not sure. I'm going to try and leave in series, which is perhaps not the best thing to do. I'm probably going to ruin the motor by doing that. And then crank it straight up to parallel, maybe get some wheel slip. Oh, there's a little dead zone. I still do not know what that is called. Oh, and a stutter as we dip underneath the West Coast Main Line. going to accelerate the entire way through here. What's our next station? Harleston. Harleston. I think Harleston is just please mind the gap between the train and the platform. That's it. Oh, and this is a Bakerloo Line service too. I do like the outdoors. It does remind me very much of London. That's much is for certain. That much is definitely for certain. Oh, there we go. That's what's not slowing down. And we are late. This is going to happen, wasn't it? I've got to get used to driving a train and doing the talking and everything. This is Harleston. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. You have to do the robot style as well, so it's 2 pause for the Harrow and Wheelstone because that part is recorded separately. It isn't only that I think is recorded separately. I think this is a Bakerloo Line train too. I think there maybe the Bakerloo Line is also, so because you'd have this is a Circle Line train, this is a Central Line train, perhaps, so it should be this is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. There you go. That's how I'm going to do it. This is Stonebridge Park. Stonebridge Park I think is the same as Harleston. It's just please mind the gap between the train and the platform. And this is a Bakerloo Line train. Should be able to see Wembley somewhere from here. Somewhere out there should be Wembley Stadium, I think. Anybody see it yet? This is quite nice. This is very realistic actually. This is very, very realistic. I do quite like this, and I like the fact that I'm able to accelerate. Look at that old semaphore signal. Very old semaphore signal right there. What's this say? Section gap. That's what it's called. Section gap. That is what they're called. They're called section gaps. There's Wembley Stadium. Look at that. That is awesome. As I slow down coming into the platform. It is slippery. I have to give it to Train Sim World. It is harder to brake out here. Train approaching. Look at that. That is a national. Is that not a national rail style one? Oh, a London Overground style. Sorry, so the London Overground must stop on these platforms too. Stop, look and listen. Beware of trains. This is Stonebridge Park. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line service to Harrow and Wheelstone. Please stand clear of the doors. That's one I know they have as well. Sometimes maybe the driver would come up on the maybe it would come up on the tannoy PA system to do it himself. Just come up and can you just please stand clear of the doors? Thank you. Something like that. I don't know what accent the drivers generally would. I'm guessing they probably all have similar accents to this. Maybe a little bit more clipped. Perhaps a bit like this one, I guess. Right, thank you for travelling on the London Underground. Could you please just stand clear of the doors? Thank you. Something like that. I have no idea how that's coming on video, so I'm just leaving it out there. As I accelerate towards Wembley Central. Now I think here we have to do the exit for Wembley Stadium. It's either here or Wembley North. I'm going to do it at Wembley Central as we have another stutter. Why do I have stutters like this? I'm going to do it here, or yeah, I'm just going to do it here anyway. And if I make people get off at the wrong station, well, it's my second day on the job. It's not really first day anymore. And we'll slow it down. Now, Wembley Stadium has this lovely building on top of it, so it reminds me a little bit of Ealing Station on the Great Western. Very similar in style. Just bring ourselves in. Nice little echo as well. You can actually hear the echo of the wiper. There we go. We are about a minute late, which is, I'm not sure how to actually fix this. I know it's tight timetables, but thought I was doing all right. This is Wembley Central. Exits here for Wembley Stadium. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line service to Harrow and Wheelstone. I keep forgetting you have to do the Bakerloo as separate as well. I could be the Annunciator if I didn't do that really high pitch. Maybe I could do a low pitch Annunciator. This is North Wembley. Oh, that hurt. I can do low pitches, but it is difficult to do the high-low. Very realistic housing here. Not very realistic back gardens, but very realistic housing. Hello people. That is nice. Buildings are pretty good here. Suburban London, very much Victorian, Georgian style, as you would expect. And remember, some of these routes have existed for a very, very long time. So, you know, these houses would, for example, those houses, these ones here, these apartments, could very much be newer than this route. In fact, they could be newer than this train. That extension most certainly is. Some of the houses could very much be newer than these trains. What's next? This is North Wembley. Let's start slowing ourselves down already. I do not like the movement so much. I feel like the movement throws off the actual braking force of these trains. I do very much like the displays though. That is really well done. I am really disappointed about the Annunciator. This is North Wembley. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Transport for London, you hearing this? Although that being said, I do personally think that the lady announcer, there are a few, there's a few different ones, but the general one I think on most is the lady that the one that does the voice. She's on most of them. There is one that is a lot more clipped and a lot more received pronunciation as well. I have no idea if that is an older one. Just sort of, she would be more like, this is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. But I do think that I cannot remember if there's a man doing this. I do not think there is any that does the one on board the train. I do not think there are. But then what do I know? This is South Kenton. So this is the second to last station. And we are about a minute and a half late by the time we stop. Sure, that was going to happen. You can just see how low down these trains are. Look how low we are compared to the platform itself. You can just see how small these trains actually are. This is South Kenton. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Gets ready to shut it. I really do like the idea of the underground in a train sim. I've played London Underground Simulator before. It was far more fascinating than any train sim I've played, apart from when you're driving with steam engines or you're in your particular favourite train. So for example, if I was in a Class 43 with a Valenta engine, super, I'll do that. But anything else, I would much prefer to have a tube train or a steam train. Something on shorter routes would be so much better. So much better. Now, Harrow is going to be an interesting one, which is where I'm going to end the video, by the way, then I'll do the turnaround and drive back. Or what I'll do is, I know that you have to do a turnaround. I'm not sure if I think we have to go past the station into a siding, turn it around and then come back. So what I'll do is I'll get up to the station, I'll get up to the siding, turn it around and then end the video there, coming back into Harrow. So I will do that. But we still have Kenton to go. I really wish there was a Pendolino going past here right now, because I know that this is the West Coast Main Line. Pendolinos will go past, or I think Southern Rail have certain trains going past. I think it's Southern Rail. I'm not sure what colour. The green and white trains, I think they're Southern Rail. Oh yeah, London to Brighton, I think that's Southern Rails. I'm not 100% certain, but I know they have their trains, and the Pendolinos go past here as well. I would really like to see that. It just gives it more of a feeling of realism. Right now it feels quite empty. There's the occasional tube that we're going past, but the actual train itself, the mainline trains, National Rail, we are far from. Next one. This is Kenton. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Harrow and Wheelstone. Alright, how far are we from Harrow? About 900 yards or so? 1.1 miles, no, more than that. Okay. That's a mile away. And we're supposed to be there in a few seconds, you know. No pressure whatsoever. Oh, I know what I'm going to do on this one. I have an idea. Because we have a little bit of time to kill as we're getting used to driving on this. The next station is Harrow and Wheelstone, where this train terminates. All change please. Please ensure that you have all your belongings with you when you leave the train. Change here for London Overground and National Rail services. Thank you for travelling on the London Underground. I got that wrong. Well, that was my attempt at that. How am I going to do the all change please? How do I do the all change please? It's going to be this train terminates here. All change please. I'll figure something out. Now we should never, as far as I understand, we should never go into the next block with a green aspect signal on the previous signal. It should always be showing amber or yellow. If it shows green, you have to control this. You have to contact the signal controller, because I believe that goes out onto the main line. So it should not be. It should not be green. And if it is, I'm pretty sure they say contact the signal controller if it is, because that means that that next one is amber when it should be red for the turnaround. And we're almost at the end of this part of the video. Open the doors, here we go. This is Harrow and Wheelstone. Please mind the gap between the Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Change here for London Overground and National Rail services. All change please. This train terminates here. We'll lock the doors. And let's see where we go now. North turn back. Right, I believe we get to jump the red here. We're going back into the turn back. Because we have a shunt signal. I'm not sure if you saw that little shunt signal. That shunt signal was telling us we can go. So I'm going to end this video momentarily. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully my announcements have been at least entertaining. And guess what? There is another video coming up with those announcements going in reverse. This can only go well, right? Thank you very much for watching. As I said, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell to be notified of when I post new videos. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know of your thoughts on Train Sim World 2. Will you buy it after you've seen my videos? Have you already got it? Have you any additional thoughts upon it? What do you like? What do you not like? Also, if you can, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. www.patreon.com/ecgadgets. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ecgadgetslp for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me, and I will see you next time in Train Sim World. Now, if I remember right, I have got to put this into off before that shuts down.